Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Mark Isfeld, and welcome to another episode of MITV. Let's take a look at some of tonight's top stories. And now off to our sports correspondent, Owen Reimer. Take it away, Owen.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm here in the gym where complete chaos is broken loose. Let's take a look.
From what I gather, these savages join groups of 3 and hunt down stragglers to conform to the collective. As you can see, the gym floor shows no mercy for those who can't keep up, and if you goof off, you will be caught.
I'm going to take the time to talk to some of these students if they have any tips for surviving PE. If you have PE next semester, you might want to take some notes. Would you have any tips for surviving PE class?
To participate in doing your gym stuff.
Gymnastics is really hard. It really kills me and F's me over, but, just think through it hard. It's done soon.
So, would you have any tips for surviving PE class?
Not really, no. Just kind of do what the teachers say.
Do what the teachers say?
Surviving PE class, follow what the teacher says and listen, because you won't end up doing something stupid.
Go 110%. 110%? 100?
You guys the gym teachers?
So would you have any tips for surviving PE class? No. Don't come? Don't go.
The one thing I've noticed amongst these savages is that they all obey one leader, the one they call Thundercalves.
In conclusion, there's one thing you should obey in the wild world of high school phys ed. Obey Thundercalves. Back to you, Brendan. Thanks, Owen. For those grade 8 and 9 students, a lot like myself, athletic, chiseled body, well-liked, and have many friends, you should have no problem with gym class. But for those of you like Will, should have been taking notes. Now let's check out the latest GG with Taryn Goodwin. Take it away, Taryn.
Thanks, Brandon. So it's that time of year again, folks, and exams are just around the corner. They prove to be the most stressful, time-consuming, soul-crushing part of our lives, and yet year after year we face them. So to help you in studying, use the following advice from our forefathers in the previous knowledge of studying. You could choose to study by cramming, leaving everything to the last minute, like these fellow students here. Or you could choose to study by memorization, repeating words out loud. This is for the insane. Or maybe you're an insomniac, staying up late for no apparent reason. But whatever you do, don't blame your exam stress on those teachers who don't have time to finish their exam curriculum. But when all else fails, remember to eat your vegetables and never leave a multiple choice answer blank, trying your best. Good luck, Marcusfeld, and back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Taryn. That segment was almost good as last week's, which was almost good. And now we have Will Tanner with another segment on exams. How original.
Welcome to the 9th episode of the Political Factors Situation Zone on Ice. This week we'll be talking about government exams and how students feel about them. Let's take a look at the clips. How do you feel about provincial exams?
It's pretty much like the government snooping on our lives.
They suck,
Why is that?
because I never passed them.
They shouldn't be so long, and I'm not much a fan of them, and
I think that they test us enough in school.
How do you feel about provincial exams?
I don't really like doctors sticking their finger up my so not really that big of a fan.
How do you feel about provincial exams?
I feel like they ask questions that I don't know the answers to.
I don't like them personally. I think that each teacher should write their own final because it would be more specific to the teacher.
How do you feel about provincial exams?
I think they're great.
Why is that?
Well, it's a test at the end of the year. It's you work hard all year to learn this stuff and test it on at the end. It's the government looking out for all the kids, trying to make sure it's regulated, make sure everyone's doing the stuff, make sure everyone's learning it, getting by, learning it.
And that concludes this week's episode of the Political Factors Situation Zone on Ice. Back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Will. That was just... Now off to our community correspondent, Kyle Voggs.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm here squatting beside this garbage can and recycling bin, not because I'm looking for food, but because I'm here to talk to you, the students, about the pressing matter that is garbage around the halls during the lunch hour. I was walking the halls at lunch, thinking to myself, this place looks like a dump. But why? So I began my own research, and it turns out it isn't one person. Oh no. It's an entire body of students. All of this left me wondering what the students and faculty of the school were thinking. So I thought, I need to get the cold hard truth. So how do you feel about garbage in the hallways at lunch or after lunch?
I don't really care.
Not at all?
No.
I think it's terrible, you know, there's garbage on the floors and people aren't picking it up themselves. We're supposed to be a school, not a dump.
So how do you two feel about garbage in the halls at lunchtime?
I don't think it's too bad, actually.
What about you?
I think it's awesome.
Awesome, not too bad.
CUDs.
How do you feel about garbage in the hallways?
Well, personally, I think it's disgusting. I mean, first of all, we have all these students hanging around the hallways. We have Mr. Fussell, who's continually walking around the hallways. We have other administrators, teachers always walking around the hallways. How can anybody be acceptable about that kind of garbage in the hallways?
I don't think it's too much of a hazard, but, you know, like to see less of it.
Does it bother you that it's extra work for the custodians?
Well, I don't know, like, it'd make their job easier, but it doesn't really bother me that much.
Well, it's kind of disgusting because when you're trying to get through, you're sitting somewhere, it's like, oh great, there's a rusty apple on my foot.
I think it's really gross and people need to pick it up.
And how do you feel about it creating more work for the custodians?
It's really, really unfair, guys.
So there you have it. Next time you, the students, decide to use the school as your personal trash can, maybe you should think of the implications it has on the rest of us. Back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Cal. Well, I guess that concludes this episode. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, check out our YouTube channel, or drop off a suggestion in our Story Ideas box located on our door in Student Services. Until next week, stay frosty, Marcusfeld.